Oh, hello there you. Welcome to another seasonal planning vlog. I like to do these planning vlogs every season, at the beginning of every season, to take you with me in my seasonal planning and seasonal reviews. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. I have with me my seasonal planning workbooks. They are called 4 Seasons of Creative Work. You can get them on my website. This is the autumn one that I'm going to do today. So seasonal planning is this thing that I've been doing for a couple of years now. I run seasonal planning workshops in my membership community. It's something that I really love. It's a way to divide up my year and to celebrate the seasons and to plan and reflect in my creative life. That is just, yeah, I'm so in love with this process. So here we are again to do some season planning. And the way this works is that at the start of each season, I fill out my own workbook. And if you do this, you fill out your workbook. So what we start with when we do seasonal planning is that we look back on the season we're leaving behind. So that is the first step of each of the seasonal planning workbooks. And that's what I'm going to start with as well. What we also do with seasonal planning is to connect back to yearly goals and intentions and reflect around them and bring them into our seasonal plans as well. So they're not just some big goal we set many months ago that we forget along the way. So yeah, what we have ahead is autumn, of course, and it is, yeah, I say this about too many seasons, but it really is one of my very favorite seasons. I always feel very connected to autumn. It feels very me, and I feel very close to my creativity in autumn as well. It feels like a very good creative season, and I know that is for many of you as well. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to fill out the first part of the workbook that is about reflecting around summer. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how my summer went, and then we'll move on to autumn and autumn planning. So yeah, I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so I have now reflected on my summer, gathered my thoughts, and thought about what I did during summer, what I created during summer, how it went, what went well, what didn't go as well, and yeah, how I feel looking back at summer. And I have to say that summer has been a really pivotal time in my creative journey. And why is this? Well, I entered summer with a very unsettled. I entered summer with this messy middle realization. So I realized that I was in my messy middle, a part in my creative journey where I would have to deal with things that I didn't want to deal with. I think everyone has the messy middle, especially in bigger projects. And I realized that I was in my messy middle in my creative business journey. And I think that having run my business for a little over a year when spring ended, I think the challenging parts of starting and running your own business was sort of catching up with me after a year. And I think that was what was happening. And I entered the summer with 2 big things. So I had felt a shift in my creative work, a shift in how I approach my work and my vision and why. And I needed to figure that out to get aligned again and to know what my direction was going forward. So that was one part that I wanted to focus on during summer. And the other part was this messy middle thing and looking at how I wanted to keep going with my business and get that a little bit more grounded and stable. So that is how I entered summer. And the part about my why and my vision, I really did that. I really dived really deep into what kind of work I do, what about creativity and creative work and creative life I'm really interested in, and what topics I want to talk about, and why those topics, and what is it that connects them. And so, I have a blog post that I'll link down in the description that goes into all of what I discovered about my why. But in a very short little thing, it is that I'm interested in the inside of creativity. I'm interested in the messy process. I'm interested in the habits and the personal direction with creativity, your creative identity, all the messy processes that goes into creative projects. That is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in what we see from the outside, so how skilled you are, or whether you get a book contract or not. That there is a lot of great resources for that, and I happily leave that to other creators. I want to talk about the messy process for creatives and all the mindset challenges, all of those kind of things. That's juicy to me. And so, having looked at the content that I create, how I create, what I talk about, how I talk about it, and getting really grounded in this why. I can't state strongly enough what a big difference that has made for me. And it's not like it's a huge change or anything. It's just a groundedness and a clarity, and knowing my own direction and knowing what I want to do, and being really that gives confidence as well. Confidence in that, I mean, if someone doesn't appreciate that, that's completely okay, because I know that that's my thing. So it has been really, really good. So that's something I worked on during summer, and what came out of that was that I created a new free resource that you also can get on my website. It's completely free. It's a free workbook called the Project Journal. I created that over the summer, and late summer or very, very early autumn, in my head, it belongs to summer. I did a complete website redesign from this. Okay, what is it I really want to talk about and focus on, and what's my approach to creativity and creative work and me as a creative coach. Redesign my website from that space, and it was so easy because I had that knowing, I had that groundedness. Everything is flowed from that. So I'm really, really, really glad. What I also worked on was the podcast that I talked about in my last video, the idea for it, and the sort of angle that I want to take with it, and not a whole lot of practical work, but the sort of mental preparation and thinking part of starting the podcast. So it was really, really good that I took the time and made a space for myself to focus on this and take a little bit of a step back, instead of feeling like I always have to be in the work and doing the work and producing and getting output, because creating the things and getting the output now is so much easier because I have that groundedness and that direction. That's what I see with the creatives that I work with as well. That when we get the clarity, when we get the direction, then everything else becomes easier, because it's very hard to do something when you don't know exactly what it is you want to do. So I am calling that a big win for this summer. And the other part then about my messy middle and feeling unsettled and feeling the challenges of running your own business and the sort of stress that comes with that, being in charge of making your own living. That I thought about that when I went into summer, and I I put on my big girl business pants and looked at, okay, so where am I at after a year of running it full time? Where do I want to get to? What is reasonable to, what kind of time frame are we talking to get there? Because business takes time. That is the reality. The idea and the dream and the sort of discourse is that, oh, it's so quick, you can do it in 2 months. But the reality is that for the most of us, it's a long process to build a good, sustainable business. So I looked at that, what's realistic? What can I do? What do I want to do? Where do I want to take the business? And what kind of good business decision can I make? And one thing that I decided there in summer was that, okay, so I need to have some kind of time frame for how long I'll keep going before I have to look into other incomes alongside a business. Because it takes a toll on you to worry about money. That's the reality, unfortunately. Money is a reality. And so I said, okay, so I'll keep going until the end of the year. And then I'll look into maybe supplementing my income with a part-time job or something like that. So that's what I decided. And at first that felt like a little bit of a letdown and like, oh, it's come to this. Which is funny because I always, when I started a business, also when I went full-time, I knew that I knew from the very beginning that maybe I wouldn't get to a full-time income in some kind of reasonable time frame. Maybe I would have to run it alongside business. So that was always sort of partly in my plans as well. But then a little bit of time during the summer went past, and I started thinking more about this option of running a business part-time. And the more I thought about it, the more I liked that idea. And I think that this is also because I was coming out of a spring when I had started to see the effects of that instability that business can bring, especially a new, a little bit young business that doesn't have the stability yet. So I started playing around with this idea of getting a part-time job and running the business part-time, and starting exploring the options. And I'll leave a link to a blog post where I get into the whole journey of this as well. But what happened was that I started looking at, okay, so what kind of job could I get? Could I get a writing job? Since writing is my passion, and I have never had a writing job before, but I have been writing a lot in my business, in my blogging. So I thought maybe I could get a job as some kind of writer. So I started looking and stumbled over a job as a content writer for a young tech company. And it was, 20 hours a week and partly remote here in Stockholm. And it just felt like the absolutely perfect opportunity. So I applied for that job and got it. The summer has really been pivotal. It feels like entering a new phase in my creative journey. Having run a business 1 year full time, I feel like I got so much of a crash course in business and in what I want to do, and figuring that out and trying it full time. And I think I needed to do it full time to be able to see, okay, what it's like, what does the business need, what do I need as a business owner. And now I take that knowledge into a new balance where I can run my business part-time in a good way, because I understand the business so much better than I did 1 year ago, 2 years ago. I feel like all the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place, and I'm starting to see, okay, so this is what I want to do, this is how I can run the business in a good way. And doing that part-time going forward is going to be so much easier than if I had gone part-time right away a year and a half ago when I decided to go full-time. So yeah, I really, really think that this is a great combination for me for the time being, probably for at least the next couple of years. So the job, part-time job, will give me some stability, some peace of mind, and it will give me the opportunity to keep going with the business, keep experimenting with the business, and to keep thinking long-term with the business as well. That I don't have to get super big results super fast. I can take it at my own pace. You know that I like the slow pace. And just take a little bit of that pressure off. So yeah, that's what happened this summer. So I had no idea that this would happen when the summer started, and I hoped that I would figure out my shift, but I don't think that I expected to figure it out this well with my shift and my evolution in my work. So yeah, the summer has exceeded my expectations in that way. So yeah, I'm really glad that this is the summer that I'm coming out of, with all the decisions and direction that it has given me. What didn't go as well with summer was that I wanted to write more on my novel this summer, and that is becoming a little bit of a trend I'm seeing. And I think that is quite expected and natural with the period that I'm in of growing a business and understanding and figuring it out. That is taking up a lot of creative energy and mind space. So it's not surprising that the novel has had to take a back seat for the time being. That being said, I wanted to do more over the summer. I expected to be able to do a little bit more over summer. I have been writing, but I've not gotten very far. So that, I suppose, is one of the things that didn't go as well, but I'm not beating myself up about it. It is what it is. So if you are also here at the end of summer, sit down and reflect a little bit about how summer went as well. What you learned from summer, what you are bringing with you from summer into autumn. I think for me, I'm bringing with me the understanding of my business, of my creative work, of my needs as a human, not just a business owner, with actually craving that stability and being happy about that. So yeah, that's what I'm bringing with me. Yeah, so the next part then is to start planning autumn, and yeah, I'm really excited for autumn as well. Like I said, it's a season that I love, and I'm excited because it's a continuation, a new phase in my journey. So I'm excited to start it. So that is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna check in with my yearly goals. I'm gonna look at what I have planned for autumn, what I want to focus on, and then I'll tell you my plans and give you some tips as well for planning your autumn. So now I have my autumn plan done, and as always, I'm feeling very inspired and very ready for autumn. So yeah, what I have done now is that I have checked in with my yearly goals and my word for the year. I think that this is an excellent time to do that. And I think that is really important to check back in with yearly intentions, because if we don't check in with them during the year, they are kind of pointless. And one thing, we do these seasonal planning workshops in my membership community, Companions in Creativity, and one thing we talked about now that we are quite a bit away from the start of the year, and we have been talking about how the intentions we set for the year and words we have chosen have gone through an evolution. They still make sense and they're still aligned and grounded, but how we interpret them have changed throughout the year as we have learned what they mean to us, and as we have gotten to understand them better and understand ourselves better. And that is very true for me as well. And if you have set any yearly intentions or word for the year or yearly goals, I would really encourage you to take a moment to sit down with them and look up what they were if you don't remember, and think about what have you learned so far about them, and have they changed somehow in your mind or how you interpret them, and how can they guide you forward in this next season. So my word for the year was nurture, and my goals were to nourish my creative business and myself as a business owner so that we can sustainably thrive together. And the other goal was to cultivate a life of writing. And when I set those goals, I had one idea about what they would look like. And what I find now, 6, 7, 8, 9 months on, is that they are still so aligned. They are exactly what I've been focusing on and what I'm keeping focusing on, but how I do that has changed. So with nourishing my business and nourishing myself as a business owner so we can sustainably thrive together, getting a part-time job is about that as well. It's about nourishing myself so that I have the stability and calm that I need to actually devote myself to my business and not have it be an unstable, stressful experience. So bringing in a side income alongside my business is allowing me to focus on the business in the way that I want, is nourishing me to have that security and stability alongside the freedom that I have in the business. And that's not what I had in mind when I said a goal, definitely not. But this year has shown me what I need. It has shown me that yes, I crave the freedom and I crave the creativity of running my own business, but I also crave the stability along the way so that we can thrive sustainably together. It's that sustainability of the journey and of the process. So it's very interesting to look back on my goals and see how I interpret them now. And I am still running my business half of my work week, and that part of it is also really a lot about nourishing the business and how, now that I also understand my business better and what it needs, how I can give my business what it needs. So yeah, very aligned with my goals still, and cultivating a life of writing. When I set that goal, I was thinking about my novel, but also maybe doing a freelance writing, those kind of things. And now having a part-time job as a content writer, that is definitely cultivating a life of writing. Not in the way that I had imagined, but working with words and working with writing in my weeks, it's only going to be good for me as a writer. And I'm really, really excited about that. So yeah. Okay, so that's the yearly goals. Moving on, what we do in the seasonal planning is that we think about the season ahead. We think about what is autumn. And autumn is this season of going deeper. In spring, our energy is quite scattered. We have this tendency to be a little bit bouncy and upbeat and inspired, and we can go in quite a lot of directions, and we have ideas for new things, and it's a little bit of a bubbly energy, and that is really fun. But now that we're coming into autumn, we have passed through summer, we have maybe released some things in summer, and taking a little bit of a backseat to things as we have enjoyed summer. now that we're coming into autumn, it's a much more focused energy, and it's a much more calm energy. We have this urge to like get cozy inside and light our candles and dive deep into things. And it's a really good season for creativity, especially for us who have creative projects that are quite indoorsy projects, like writing and things like that. So it's probably my favorite creative season in that sense, in that it is inspired and focused, but it's also calm and a little bit introspective. And it's often a season for me when things really come to fruit. It's a season when the things that I've been working on start making sense and start coming together. Last year, autumn was a time when I decided to launch my membership, Companions in Creativity. So that was a really, it was many ideas coming together into this program, this membership community that Companions in Creativity is. And I really love autumn, and I hope you do too. I think you do too. A lot of people do. Knowing this about our season, we think about how can I use that energy in the best way in my creative life? What is aligned with this energy in your creative life that you could focus on this season, this autumn? How can you dive deep in some way in your creativity? How can you use your autumn energy in a good way in your creative life? And from that, we set focus areas. So I have chosen focus areas, and my main one is related to the things that I already have planned for autumn. During the summer also of taking a little bit of a step back, one thing I've seen is that I want to have longer plans for what I do in my business, so that I can start preparing earlier and know what I'm going to be focusing on. And I also now know so much about what I want to do that I can plan a little bit longer in advance. So I already know some things that I'm going to do, and it's a lot about launches and campaigns this autumn. So the first thing is that I'm launching my new podcast. That is the very start of autumn. It's out when you're watching this video, and that is how autumn is starting in a really great way. And I'm really, really looking forward to podcasting this autumn. It feels like the perfect medium for autumn as well. Being really cozy inside and talking into a microphone and diving really deep into topics. So I'm really excited about starting the podcast in autumn. Very excited about that. So that is how it starts. And then the next thing is that I am launching a new one-to-one coaching program. I retired my old one in the end of spring, and I'm now launching a new coaching program. So that is what I'm going to be working on during September, setting that up, and everything about that. So that is one thing that I'm going to be working on. The other thing is that I'm going to have a campaign around the Companions in Creativity, my membership community, later in autumn. So that will be more of a focus, late October and November. So that are sort of the things, the what I'm going to work on in my business. And then I set another focus area that is more about the how. So now that I've just started my part-time job, I'm going part-time with a business. The balance of things are shifting a little bit since I am doing the podcast. I really want to lean into embracing this new rhythm and finding my new habits in this rhythm. So what did I call it? I called it something that made me really excited. I call it rhythm, habits, and enjoyment. So I think that autumn is a really nice time for good, nice, gentle, slow habits and routines. While summer is very much about not having routines in general, it tends to be very free and flexible and loose around the edges. Autumn is a time when we tend to, okay, we're done with that. We want back to our routines. So it feels also like a really good season to think about my routines going forward and think about this balance and this rhythm with part-time job, part-time business. So I'm going to think a lot about, I'm going to try new habits. I'm going to think about my habits, evaluate how things are going in terms of habits, think about my new balance, and think about how I can, like, what I want is that I want to have my creative work be, have a simple core that I can have, okay, so what do I need to do every week to keep things going and have that be really simple. So that is something that I want to experiment with during autumn. So those are my two main focus areas. And a little bit connected to the second focus area is my novel. So like I said, my novel has had, it hasn't gotten as much attention this year and as I wanted. And I think that's expected. And it's probably not going to get super much attention this autumn either. I have quite a lot going on in the business. I am getting settled into a new job. So probably not going to be like the most productive season in writing. But what I want to do is that I want to look for new habits with the novel, look for space for the novel, explore what writing the novel alongside these other things can look like going forward. Because I am coming to a place where I'm realizing also they're not going to be a huge chunk for my novel in the week. I'm not going to have that in, I don't know, the next couple of years, probably. So I need to find a good way to work on it alongside everything else. So that is what I'm going to explore in this autumn as well. And one thing that I really want this autumn, it has this energy of coziness and this energy of, really good feelings in autumn. And since I have decided to go part-time, one of the reasons that I wanted to do that was to bring in more calm and peace of mind and be able to enjoy the process more without having to worry about, everything that you can worry about in a business. So I really want to focus on bringing the enjoyment into this new balance and really embracing that calm that I'm craving and the stability, and find that enjoyment and find that balance that I've been craving. So leaning into also having fun and doing fun things and not overthinking, not worrying so much, but enjoying the ride a little bit more, and also doing things that are not the business, there's not work. It's also not a novel, but just enjoying life a little bit alongside everything else. And now that I have a job that is in the city, I want to do things in the city, maybe go to the theater, things like that. That also feels really like nice autumn activities. So I want to do some things like that. I'm thinking that, like, I would like to go on a workshop or take a silly little course, something that doesn't really that isn't important but is fun. That I'm craving those kind of things, and finding a new, enjoying reading books, things like that. Enjoying things, enjoying life, having a good time. That's what I want this autumn. So, those are my autumn plans. So if you are sitting down now to plan your autumn, I'm just gonna encourage you to think about what you're inspired for and what you want to focus on in your creative life this autumn, and what could make this a good autumn for in your creativity and in your life. What do you want more of? What are you craving? What are you inspired for? What do you really want to dive into this autumn? And embrace that. Embrace that. So yeah, I'm really excited about starting my autumn. I think it's gonna be a good one. And I'm really longing for this rhythm, and I'm really excited to explore my new rhythm. So yeah, I will be back here on the YouTube channel, but more occasionally, as I've said. And you can find me in the podcast as well. Inside Creativity. Look for it in your podcast app or click a link down in the description and you'll find it. So thank you for coming along in my seasonal planning. Thank you for watching this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, if you want to do your seasonal planning and want some guidance, here's the auto workbook. You can get all 5 workbooks on my website. They are called 4 Seasons of Creative Work, and the link is down in the description. So I hope you will have a wonderful autumn, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye bye.